Hey everyone, my name is Jethro and I believe that you can draw. Last week, if you drew along with me, we created this character, Myra, the palace guard, someone who was loyal, fierce and protective. Now, I tried to come up with this character as we were drawing, which I don't think was the smoothest, though I love to do that, but I thought it might be more fun for me to start coming up with the characters and then we can draw them together. That's what I've started to do. You'll be able to find a link to this in the description below. This is the characters that we're going to create together. The first one, Myra, is right here. Little bit of backstory. She didn't find growing up in Ophir very easy. Everyone was trying to find their place, and everyone looked for stability in a leader. Myra grew up watching the royal family shape and defend the kingdom of Ophir. She saw the family's dedication to each other, and they became the people that she was looking to for stability. And that's what helped her to become a palace guard, like admiring that the royal family and seeing how they created a safe place together. So if you want to learn more about Myra, follow the link in the description. But today we're going to have a go at drawing Cartho. Cartho, she was born in Ophir and long wondered what lay beyond the kingdom's walls. She was always encouraged to explore, and in her youth Cartho discovered the source of the river that encircles the kingdom, the boundaries of the forest of Anglethorn, the rough locations of the dragons in the forest, and she mapped the shape of the mountain of fire. Cartho's dream was to sit atop the mountain and look down and see the world from that point of view of someone seeing her maps. Point of view that no one's ever going to see. Rumours say that she was gifted treasure from the dragons, which she hid in the forest itself. This is Cartho, someone who's adventurous, maybe a little bit rebellious, but also detail orientated. Loves maps. I love maps. Maybe we should make a map. If you want to draw along, and please do draw along, if you do any drawings, send them to me. I'd love to see them, and I can share them as well. If you want to draw along, you can download this template. It's in the description below. It'll work in Photoshop, it'll work in any apps, it'll work in Procreate, but it doesn't matter the app you want to use. The creativity is found in you. Photoshop is not the source of your creativity. But if you don't want to draw digitally, you can also download and print off a sheet of real spots and then use an actual pen to draw along. Let's dive right in and start drawing. I'm going to hide Myra, make a new layer, grab a Doppler wing pencil, which is my favourite. I think Myra was on this spot, yes. Let's draw Cartho on. She can be on this one. Yeah, this one. When I draw, I'll start with the eyes. I think Cartho is gonna be in the midst of looking at a map, or I mean, she was the cartographer of Ophir, so really she needs mapping tools. I'm not entirely sure what those are. Drawing tools. Drawing tools and adventure gear, really, which are some of my favourite things. Ear is poking through her hair. Just gonna use the liquify tool to slightly change the shape of her body. Okay, arms. Well, maybe she's actually midway through drawing a map. So she's put down a heavy rucksack of adventure gear, although I feel like she'd pack pretty well. Maybe she's got a bag just there on the ground. And it's got like rolls of paper. Poking out the top as well. In there, I'm sure she's got sleeping gear, everything you'd need to make a fire, everything you'd need for cooking food and things, and I bet she actually forages. She's probably brought minimal food with her, but is expert forager. Or no, maybe she's not very good at foraging, but always travels with someone who is really good at that stuff. Perhaps that person we should draw next. Oops, pen the wrong way around. Yes, she's drawing a map. We've got the map here, like so. And there is a pen in this hand. Might have to rethink this. Definitely moving these so that she's actually looking down at the map. Okay, we're getting there. What I'm actually going to do is tap the little N on Procreate, take the opacity down, hit the plus button and draw her again in red pencil. I'm doing a second draft, but this time, now that I've got a better idea of what I want, I can actually, well, I think I can do a better drawing. Lots of the lines before, I was just kind of experimenting, feeling it out, but now I still have her ear poking out. Now I think I can do a much better job. Make the map smaller. Maybe it ends in a scroll that she's pinching there. There's her body. Comes up and she's holding out a pen in triumph because she's about to make she's about to draw some defining features. Perhaps she definitely has a long coat on as well. I reckon Cartho is a bit wild, just goes on adventures and you might not know when you're going to see her again. She'll invite you along, loves people, loves bringing people along. If you say no, she'll disappear and you might not see her for a few weeks or even months, but when she's back she'll have some incredible stories to tell. Alright, she's still going to have the bag. But this time let's draw it open so we can start to peek at what's inside. Mostly scrolls of paper. You need thick, heavy, well, not heavy, but you need boots for walking and stomping, creating your own path. Okay, now we can get rid of that one. We'll take the opacity down of this, add a new layer. And start creating the actual ink lines for Cartho. So yeah, I go through quite a few different layers. I'm actually just gonna slightly, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slightly change the shape of this spot, I think. Maybe make it a bit smaller. Perhaps that's my fault. Maybe I drew Cartho too small. I'm gonna grab my spots layer, grab the selection tool, draw around it. Oh, colour fill's turned on. I'm going to turn colour fill off. Hit copy and paste. Hide the spots underneath. And now I'm going to go to the magic wand, liquefy, make sure it's a decent size, and just kind of reshape it, make it a little bit smaller. Great. Little chin. I think that's pretty perfect. Okay, back to inking. Got my brush. Her companion, who is excellent at foraging. Perhaps he's a really good teacher. I don't reckon Cartho is so concerned with teaching, but more concerned with creating excellent maps and discovering the unknown. Finding new places. I've been listening to an amazing podcast, perhaps my new favourite podcast, called Atlas Obscura, and in that they just talk about incredible places around the world, and I find it so inspiring, because most of these places, you know, you'd never know even existed otherwise, without people telling. You know, people are sharing some of their favourite places. They talk about incredible people who've built wonderful things, like one man who built this entire underground garden, and they go into detail about his story and about why he did it. Was it because he wanted to build an underground garden? No, it's because he wanted to build a garden, but he wasn't allowed to build it above ground, so he just built it underground. And I love it. And I find listening to that gives me so many ideas for characters and places in this world that I want to create. Oops. So, go check out Atlas Obscura. It's amazing. Ooh, I didn't do Cartho's cheeky smile. Let's thicken that up a bit. I'm kind of imagining this world is like the technology is scrolls and ink pens for some reason, still pens, but it's like swords and shields and knights and dragons. and magic. Fantasy world. What is this? I reckon it's something. It's just she's got things folded up in there. Great. Let's hide the red ink. Add a new layer. Grab a waxy crayon, and I'm going to pop off my colours. Cartho, being an excellent adventurer, I reckon, probably has a muted olive cloak. I reckon right now she's journeyed through Anglethorn Forest, has found, which kind of curves up a cliff, and maybe she's found a little clearing on the edge of a cliff, and she's found a spot to look out over towards the sea, in the opposite direction of Ophir. So she can't see Ophir itself, but certainly she can see across the sea, and just right in the distance maybe there's a little island, the hint of a land that she can just see a glimpse of through the fog. Will she add it to her map? No. Well, she might make a note in her personal map, but won't add it to anything that she publishes. She does go on to create maps for the royal family of Ophir. She's Ophir's cartographer, people. Once she grows up and people see her, how useful her maps are, and that they prove to be more accurate than the seer's maps. The seer, who is supposed to be the royal magician, but he also loves making maps, but he's very rubbish at it. He kind of claims that he can do all kinds of things that he actually can't. People believe him at first, and then slowly they start to discover he's pretty rubbish at the things he claims he can do. He's not even a good magician. Carter's currently on this outcrop. Her bag is muted as well, and rough and worn, and has seen many adventures, even now early in her career. I love my bag. It sounds really silly. I spent ages searching for it, but it's just the perfect. I have an adventure bag and a camera bag, and I kind of use them both as adventure bags. Very silly, but I get a lot of enjoyment from it. I find it very useful. So I'll tell anyone about it, anyone who'll listen. If you want to know about my bag, the adventure bag that I have, it has shelves. Anyway, you don't need to know. You don't want to know. You want to know about Cartho, the map that she's currently creating. Yeah, so she's wandered through Anglethorn, found a little outcrop, a little cliff edge, and she's drawing the shape of the coast. Perhaps that's what she's doing right now. Drawing the shape of the coast. She has to be careful because, of course, dragons live in Anglethorn. Not the Pagona dragons, they are a vigilante clan of people just dressed as lizards or dragons. If you join the Pagona dragons, you have to make your own lizard costume. But we're not learning about them, we're learning about Cartho. But yes, you have to be careful of dragons. Cartho knows that. She's had a few scorch marks. from run-ins with the dragons, but she's also earned their trust, but doesn't want to abuse that, so she will be as careful and as quiet as she can. The dragon's reasonable, can be friendly, but they're not super trusting of strangers, of humans, of newcomers. And they're not just going to let anyone wander through their realm, their habitat. And they've got to protect themselves, often from other dragons. But once again, we're not learning about dragons, we're supposed to be learning about Carthay. I'm getting distracted. I love trying to just find the right colours for shadows. I find working with colour actually quite hard. Often I'm not quite sure what to pick. So sometimes my colours are just a bit random. I'm just like, yeah, that'll do. But I find it really fun at the same time. You know, what colours can I get away with? Can we stick some purple in here? I reckon we can. For a colder shadow, but maybe that's too cold, I'm not sure. I'm just going to press really... the thing I love about the Apple Pencil is that you can press really hard and get... when you press really hard with this brush, it goes just huge. But if you press lightly, this waxy crayon brush that I've made really like blends and kind of smudges in with the colour beneath it, which is really nice. But it just feels really nice to work with. I got a bit carried away there. I wasn't supposed to be adding shadow to that side. There we go. Let's add a little bit of warmth in there. And perhaps some little highlights just where the sun is coming across. Catching these crease marks. She works in sections. She works on these scrolls, but works in sections so that she can unroll a little bit, put some crease marks in so that it kind of holds its shape as she's drawing with one hand, and then she can roll it back up again. It looks like she's actually working on the... You would think that you'd have the roll of scroll on this side, and then the rest of the map would come through, because this is the front of her map. But Carthay works differently, apparently. Yep, definitely Carthay, not just the way I've drawn her, which means that we might be able to see some little details. Let's make this really small, and perhaps we can just see a hint of her drawing wrapping around. While she's out and about, she'll just draw with black ink and make lots of notes so that she can come back and ink them with watercolours and different pigments herself later. Carthay does love to work in bright colours. And then when she's finished, she'll lay a giant sheet of paper over the top of the map that she's been working on and make like a proper clean final version, much in the same way that I work with red crayon. Okay. This pen was a gift. And it is red. It's not a red pen. Well, the pen is red, but the ink is black. This is made from it's metal, the latest in technology. It's a gift from my parents, and is extra special because it means that you can carry a writing tool with you wherever you are without needing a bottle of ink. Let's clean up some of these. I forgot to do the straps of this bag. Let's do that. Just kind of pushing those colours around a bit more, and let's add something to the shadow of that strap. And yeah. Oh, this is actually a folded blanket for warmth. And it's green, matching her cloak. There we go. I think that's done. I think that is Cartho finished. All that's left is to add her name, and then she can be inducted into the cast of characters for Ophir. Let's make that chunkier. Cartho. You get no points if you realise where her name comes from. I know, it's very inspired. Wild. Organised is not the word I'm looking for. Dedicated to her craft? Detailed. And a little bit rebellious. Group all of Cartho's layers together so we can put her there. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you drew along with me, please do send me a picture. You can send them to @JethroWilson on Instagram or on Twitter. You can email them to me at hello@JethroWilson, or if you can get in touch via owl post, do go ahead. I'd love to see an owl. I absolutely love seeing your drawings, and I'm so excited, I can't wait. I also love seeing your comments. Please do, let me know what you think. What do you think of this slightly new style of video? What kind of characters do you want to see? It really means an absolute ton to see those thumbs up and those comments coming through, because it means that you really like what I'm making and you want to see more of it. And this really means a lot that people choose to support me, so thank you so much. I've also made a newsletter. It's going to be monthly, but if you want to sign up, the link is in the description. Don't forget the links to all of the assets, the ink splotches and the brushes, they're on the description as well. Have an amazing day, and I can't wait to see you again.